Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and we're going to do a little head-to-head here, comparison. I think what we'll do is we'll do a blind first, and then after we do a blind, we'll kind of go through each of these individually. So, currently in the B is this ancient age. C is going to be, so we'll do this. So ancient age. Sorry. Let's revamp all that. So welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. I just got done reviewing this ancient age, and we're going to compare it to the ancient age and the Buffalo Trace, because I was saying that this ancient age 10-star, not the 10-year, seemed like a really good cheap alternative to the Buffalo Trace. So we're going to do that. I said I was going to compare it to Buffalo Trace and kind of give you a compare and contrast here, but I decided we're going to throw the ancient age in there as well. So the ancient age, just the standard ancient age, is going to be glass C, and this is the 40% ABV version of the ancient age. This is 90 proof, and so we'll put it like that. Put this guy in here, and then the Buffalo Trace is also 90 proof. And the Buffalo Trace is going to be glass D. And as always, does this have an age statement on here? Buffalo Trace, 45% aged distilled. Sorry, let me look real quick through here. Found a Buffalo Trace. Very finer bourbon. I don't see a age statement on this at all. I think it's somewhere between 4 and 6 years. I want to say it's 4 years old, but I don't really know. So quickly, I'm gonna go close my door so my dog stays down here. Nope, lay down. There we go. Might edit that out. Might not. Lay down, boo. Anyways, so we have those. That's the order they're in. Now we're going to mix them up. And of course, I'm talking to you. I'm not paying attention. Everybody goes, oh, you can track whatever. I don't care, right? Like, my goal is not to make one thing win over another. I want to give everything a fair shake and make whatever be whatever. I just want to give you guys the most honest reviews I can with what I have. So we're going to go from A to B, or A to C, C back to A. Give you what I think. We'll pick our winner out of this. And then after that, we'll go through and we'll discuss each of these individually and their characteristics. So on the nose, smells like Buffalo Trace. The signature profile. Now, the ancient age and the ancient age are sour mash. I don't believe Buffalo Trace is a sour mash product. But, well, hold on. Since I have these here, this is the benefit of being able to do this. Now, sorry that this is long. So, ancient age is mash bill number 2. Ancient age is number 2. And Buffalo Trace is... Buffalo Trace is mash bill number 1. So they're not the same mash bill even. But on the nose, all Buffalo Trace products have a very similar nose profile. Or it's sweet up front. This one has a little bit of corn dust in it. But you get that brown sugar, that light honey, light caramely, syrupy, just a little bit of creaminess to it. You get some floral component, like apple blossom is what I always say. And then you get that ripe, honey crisp apple type nose profile. That's what I get out of this. If I had to guess, I think this is the ancient age. I'm just guessing. I shouldn't have said that, but I don't want it to influence what I think, but that's what I'm getting out of this. But I could be wrong. Flavor profile, that was really watery thin. But a lot of those sweet components came through with just a little bit on the back end. Like it had nice sweet components, a little bit of wood impact on the end, but all those notes were very, very tamped down. They were very light. It wasn't a hefty taste. Now, if you remember, the ancient age, my gripe with that particular bottle was that it had this watermelon rind nose and flavor, but as I'm starting to get through the bottle, that is changing. But right out of the gate, this one has a little bit of something on the back end. I won't call it watermelon rind, but it's just something, some kind of a sour, slight funk to it. And it's kind of covering up a lot of the rest of it. But the more I really get down into it, that's actually kind of gone. It's a little bit ethanol-y, but I'm still picking up that sweetness in there. Honey, like a wet honeysuckle. Pretty light in the glass, but there's a sweet component to it that has a slight sourness to it, a slight floral, a little confectioner sugar in there. See how this one tastes? Super, super thin. Man, super thin. I feel like this is ancient age, and this is ancient age. So far, that one's better. This one has more depth to the flavor, but this flavor profile is very similar. Again, if this is ancient age, no watermelon. Let's see what this guy smells like. Okay, so this one has a sour note to it as well. And like I said, these are different mash bills. The Ancient Ages are mash bill 2, which is the same as the Elmer T. Lee, the Rock Hill Farms, the Hancock that I have. Those are all mash bill 2, I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check that before I start spouting off like I think I know what I'm talking. Rock Hills is Buffalo Trace number 2. Oh. Okay, so these are even different mash bills. So there's mash bill 2, and this is Buffalo Trace mash bill 2 for the Rock Hill Farms. Let's see what that Elmer T. Lee is Buffalo Trace number 2, and Hancock is Buffalo Trace number 2. So I don't know with that book if it means that mash bill number 2 is different than Buffalo Trace mash bill number 2, but yeah. Just out of the glass, this one is more pleasant to drink, but it's lighter in flavor than this one. This one has a little bit heftier notes to it. And this just has classic Buffalo Trace nose profile. It's a little bit more depth and richness in the nose. You get that apple, that floral. Caramel comes through like a darker caramel. Now on the palate, easy drinking, nice, sweet, caramel, a little bit of bitter on the back end of the tannin. I think this is Buffalo Trace. I would say this has more character to it. These two are kind of head to head right now. This one's a little bit. So I think this is Ancient Age. I think this is Ancient Age, and I think this is Buffalo Trace. I'm gonna have to do these two side by side to see which one. Side by side, just in the nose, this has a lot more confectioner sugar. Almost, there's almost like a circus peanut kind of sweetness to it, and this has more oak mixed in with like a darker brown sugar. and the floral notes are lighter. Oh, that time I got a little bit of watermelon rind. So I kind of think I'm sticking with this somehow, if I'm right, which I might not be, but I think I got this in the exact same order that they were in. So ancient age, Buffalo Trace. Okay, we're gonna take a sip of water. We'll go back. So far, this one does have more heft to it, and so if I'm right about my guesses, and this is ancient age, then I would say that the Buffalo Trace has 20 or 30% more heft behind it um, than this one. But I'm saying that coming off of this one, which drank really, really light. So this impacted this impacted that, both of these impacted that. So now we're going to go this way with it and see what that does. And then because these two are kind of tied for me right now, I'm going to take and do these head to head if I leave it in the order that I have it and if I think it is what it is. So a little bit of ethanol in there. Sweet, floral. The water on my tongue kind of let the oak tannin come forward a little bit more on this one. The nose didn't change. Ooh, watermelon rind. There we go. That's interesting. Over time, it developed it. When I first tried it, like honestly, I was a little bit nervous until I drank this one because it didn't smell the way that I remember that one smelling. But it's like a combination of watermelon rind and wet corn dust. Just got this dusty funk to this watermelon funk to it. It's weird. It's got a green, like literal watermelon rind, wet rye grain is what it smells like. Watermelon rind. They both are very similar. I only know that smell because I've been in grain bins where uh there has been some damp areas. But going in, flavor profile super tamped down compared to this. A lot sweeter going back to it now. None of that watermelon rind smell is not in there in the flavor profile at all. Very sweet honey, start to finish, watery thin a little bit in the middle. Palate kind, it's like sweet honey dropped off a little bit, picked up with just a hint of oak on the back end. I'm sticking with that being ancient age. And again, if you were to mix that in something, you wouldn't get that watermelon out of it at all. And it's not watermelon; it's watermelon rind. This first whiff, when I first picked it up, had a very sweet confectioner sugar in it. Moved into a darker caramel, a little bit of oak, honey. Lost that floral and apple component. Flavor profile. Very sweet, very nice, very smooth in transition between flavors. There's no sharp edges to it. Sticking with that being ancient age, has less of an oak impact second sip than it did before. This one has the most oak to it. So if you want a little bit more, and if you're looking for oak, Buffalo Trace is not your lane for oak impact. It's very minimal at best. But this glass has more oak impact, more of that bitter tannin than this. It's on the back end. This was just mostly sweetness forward with just a little bit of oak in there. Going head to head now. I would say these are both about the same. If I'm gonna give it to this, if which again I think is the Buffalo Trace, if you want a little more heft in the flavor profile, there's more here in this glass than there is in this. This is lighter, sweeter, but comparatively, I think they're very like even in the nose. This is classic Buffalo Trace nose profile with the floral component still being there, that apple component being there. Sweet, fruity, a little bit of oak. Oh, head to head. You like sweet, this one's way sweeter. The oak comes in just at the very end of that. confectioner sugar, caramel, honey, light sweet notes. This is actually, if you're a sweet bourbon drinker, this glass is actually way more, which I can't believe I'm saying this about Buffalo Trace because I kind of crap on Buffalo Trace as far as it not being complex. Um, if this is Buffalo Trace, this is more complex than I thought it. I remember it being, although I remember this is a store pick bottle, and I remember it having more oak in there than my other Buffalo Trace that I used to have, which I no longer have. Um, but if I'm reaching for something, I'm actually going to reach for this. There's probably 4 notes in there. And it's just a sweeter, nicer drinking. Whereas this one, and this was if this is the Buffalo Trace, my argument with this particular Buffalo Trace has always been that it has more of a tannic bite to it than what your run of the mill, off the shelf Buffalo Trace has. So let's take a look and see if I'm right. D, I'm guessing this is C, yep, and B. So headshot all of those. These are what they are. And I would say that if you like the sweet, this ancient age, I'm actually really impressed for the price point and what it is. It's good. Both of these are 90 proof. This is 80 proof. First way through, I did not get that watermelon. It wasn't until the second coming back that I got that watermelon rind in there. It's just a sour funk on the back end of it that I don't remember that again in the original review of Ancient Age that I did 3 years ago. I don't remember that being the case, but it's definitely in this bottle. And over time, I mean, I still haven't drank that much of it, but over time it's lessened. And definitely coming off the heels, but this is a better buy in my opinion. You get more character, more flavor, more proof, and just better all the way around. Out of these three, this Buffalo Trace definitely has more heft behind it, but it does have more of that oak in there as well, which I can't believe I'm saying that about Buffalo Trace. I'm repeating myself here, but if you want more heft, go with this. This ancient age, if you can find it, I think is a great alternative. It is not as deep of flavor profile as the Buffalo Trace has, but we're talking by 30% maybe. Like it's like if Buffalo Trace is here, this is down here just a little bit slightly below. It's nowhere near what this is. So if you can find this on your shelves, and you're a fan of Buffalo Trace, I think you're going to do yourself some real good going with the ancient age 10-star. It probably doesn't have as much age on it, but man, when you're talking, I used to find this. I got this store pick for $19.99. I think now those bottles are up to $25, and that's if you can find it. And this 175, I paid $29.49. Like that's just too good to pass up. But I think what did I pay for this ancient age? We'll wait for this to come up. But I want to. When I originally did my review of this ancient age, this was under $10. It might be like $9 and change now, but I think originally you'd have to go back and watch the video. But I think originally I paid like $7 or $8 for it. And now I paid $9.59, so just shy of $10. Do I have the original on here? Oh, there you go. So originally in 2020, I paid $9.09 for this. Now it's $9.59. So it went up by 50 cents. Um, yeah, I don't know. This is a better buy, I think. So there you have it. Drop in the comments down below what you think of all this. I know I did a lot of rambling in there, but that's my fair head-to-head comparison. I think those are all pretty decent. Other than that weird watermelon rind in this one, even this has it's very thin. It's 80%. It tastes like 80%. It's very watery, but even with that, and it has a decent flavor profile. It would get lost in most mixed drinks that have a lot of stuff in it. So if you're looking for a cocktail or a mixed drink that has that the whiskey is not the key flavor profile, go ahead and mix this in there. So if you're looking for something where you can just pound them back like a whiskey mule or something where it's not the front and center stage of the drink. There's no reason why you can't pick up a less than $10 bottle of whiskey and go for it. Whereas I've heard people paying $40 for a bottle of Buffalo Trace. I think they're nuts, but I mean, sure. And then this is kind of your bargain in between the two, I'd say, pushing closer to the Buffalo Trace than to the standard ancient age, even though these two are the same mash bill. So there you go. That helped you out at all. You're welcome. If not, sorry for the confusing ramble. Hoped you liked it. Drop in the comments down below what you think of any of these bottles, what you can find them for in your area, and whether or not I'm off my rocker. But you guys have yourselves a great day. We'll catch you in the next video where we are going to look at the Wyoming whiskey single barrel that I picked up last weekend. So have yourselves a great day. Catch you in the next video.